got my doubts where this Occupy Wall Street is going. It's like a revolution that's split into a million parts, and the goals are too vague. They're talking about greed and corruption on Wall Street, and we're the 99%, and you're the 1%, and we wanted things equal. And you know what? I got a feeling this is going to be a bad thing, because what's going to happen is it's going to be disorganized opposition, which is going to be controlled opposition. And what I think what should be done is, well, let me put it this way. As an individual, it should be concentrating on several things. I'm not going to tell you, Occupy Wall Street, do this, but I'm just saying the specific goals people should have that the Wall Street would really hate is, one, re-implementation of the Glass-Steagall Act, or the Banking Act of 1933 in full, which was repealed. That enabled the brokerage arm of the banks to meld with the other banking portions and speculate with money. Well, the depositor's money wasn't kept totally separate from the brokerage arm. That is one thing the Glass-Steagall Act put in place, a separation between those two functions. And since that time, you have the Dodd-Frank legislation that came about, the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act, but it's not as strong as Glass-Steagall. Glass-Steagall should be enforced exactly as it was. The banks don't want this. The banks wanted this repealed, so this is something obvious that you should get back. And as an individual, and I'm not saying this Occupy Wall Street, I don't know what this is going to do, because it's way too vague. It should be down to certain specifics. If people get behind reinstating Glass-Steagall 100%, that's one thing. Bank of America hates it. There's a couple of articles on it people can go over real quickly and just see what it's about, but that is extremely important to get that back. And that was put in times after the great market crash in 1929, and I think it was 1932, and they implemented this act. Another thing is the Tobin Tax, which was originally going to be a small tax on currency transactions between different currencies, but this should be it's a small tax. It's on every transaction that, for instance, you have the electronic trading going on Wall Street, the high frequency trading, and I don't know how many thousands of transactions go on in a minute, but this tax would be an extremely high tax for that. But that does give them an unfair advantage, obviously, without getting into all the mechanizations of what happens, because it probably is extremely complicated and it can be argued back and forth. If the big brokerage houses want this electronic trading, it's good for them. Very simple, obvious. This is a tax that would affect electronic trading because it goes on each trade. They hate this. They hate this. This is something that should be implemented. So two things: the Glass-Steagall Act comes back, and the Tobin Tax gets enacted on each trade. In other words, high frequency trading, there would be a very high effective tax on that. So concentration on two things specific would get back at Wall Street, and it would be done in an extremely fair way. You're not actually getting back at them. You're just causing them to play on a more level field. As far as a poster boy, that could be good for well, let me put it this way: there's several people that we could actually pick out that could say they could be the poster boy, but Lloyd Blankfein would probably be a good one to use as one of the biggest slicksters on Wall Street. I know he's an excellent salesman, and I respect that, but he's claimed he's doing God's work, and the Rolling Stone magazine described Goldman Sachs as a great vampire squid wrapped around the face of humanity, relentlessly jamming its blood funnel into anything that smells like money. That could be true of a lot of things, to tell you the truth, but Goldman Sachs right now has really became into the public eye, and to tell you the truth, the other areas of the financial powers would sacrifice Goldman Sachs, no problem, if it would keep them alive. I mean, I think that's just how things work in a nutshell. I mean, so you might see Goldman Sachs go away. Who knows? Who knows? But the important thing is to stick with the principles. We know they're doing electronic trading, and that's to their advantage. This Tobin tax would screw them up. They hate it. Another thing is they wanted to repeal of the Glass-Steagall Act, bring it back full force. So these two things, and I guess if you're looking for a poster boy, probably Lloyd Blankfein, the sun god of Wall Street. But as far as this Occupy Wall Street, I think it's turned into a direction where there's a million different splinters going on, and it's not going to be effective. It's and if you look back in the 30s, and you look back what the World War I veterans protested against getting their money that was due from the government, there's been much more severe protest in this country and people living under much dire hardships than what's going on right now. So I think this is going to be extremely ineffective unless it get some specific goals, not just 99% against 1%. This is bullshit. I mean, it's not telling anything. You got to get down to specifics, and these are two specifics that the Wall Street hates. So I don't know. I don't like this, to tell you the truth. I think it's a big waste, to tell you the truth. I think this is all going to be misdirected. I don't trust it at all.